South Africa's Industrial Development Zone program geared towards growth and job creation in the export market has been a disappointment. The government is now in the process of overhauling the project under the proposed Special Economic Zones bill, but without clear incentives to attract investment, skepticism still remains. Maree reports.
Since its launch in 2000, the Industrial Development Zone program has been plagued by inefficiency and under-delivery. Lack of government coordination has resulted in land squabbles, with IDZs competing amongst themselves for the same investments.
Well, I think creating an IDZ, globally it's known that that's a space you create for a specific reason and you give government-funded incentives to that geographic space. And I think up until now, we've spoken about it, we've created these areas, but we haven't really been committed to giving the right kind of incentives that have created that attraction.
The Department of Trade and Industry believes that the critical weakness of the IDZ program is its exclusive focus on exports.
The problem with the IDZs in the past was that it was export focused, so it tended to attract the investors on the export market, which normally had minimal value add to our resources. Things like smelters and those things were one of the bigger anchor investors into those zones. So they were mostly capital intensive and did not necessarily create a lot of jobs.
The Special Economic Zones Bill released last month plans to diversify the IDZ program to include firms producing for the domestic market.
Economy now, our domestic market is growing. The middle class has doubled, the black middle class has doubled over the past decade. So there's a much bigger domestic market. So we don't only have to rely on exports. We can also generate investments for the domestic market. But actually, in addition to that, our market on the continent is actually our fastest growing market for manufactured products. And so for that reason now we can locate IDZs closer to Limpopo, closer to the Northwest province, and then we can service those markets.
But economists have warned that this local bias could lead to unfair competition, with companies operating within the IDZs having advantages over other local firms.
And in some countries, what they did with industrial development zones, which is a different model to our one, but what they gave operators in the IDZ, they gave them complete, they relaxed all the regulations. In our context, we are not doing that. People in an IDZ or in a non-IDZ, they face exactly the same labor law regime. They face more or less the same tax regime, except there's just a slight additional incentive, but there is no relaxation of the normal, and therefore it is not unfair competition.
The Special Economic Zones Bill aims not only to broaden the current IDZ program, but to establish South Africa as a gateway to the rest of the continent. Its success, however, will depend upon how attractive incentives are to potential investors.